But we're glad to be doing this for you today. Thanks for tuning in. And we're going to start off with a couple of songs. We had a number one hit record during the pandemic, and we had a number one song, and we're going to start with that song right now, one Kristen wrote called Keep the River on Your Right.
Mid-October, the geese are flying over, headed for the coast. But you're not here, and it seems this time of year is when I feel it most. And all that talk of heaven, well, it never resonated back in Sunday school. But I found my religion on a windy mountain ridge and on a riverbank with you. When melancholy gets into my way, I remember what you used to say. Keep the river on your right. You can't go wrong with the river on your right. And if you've lost your way and you're running out of daylight, keep the river on your right. The autumn leaves, they whisper in the trees against an endless sky. Despite it all, every leaf must fall just like you and I. And if there is a heaven, well, I bet you got your campsite all staked out. And if there is a heaven, I bet you got that country station way too loud. When melancholy gets into my way, I remember what you used to say. Keep the river on your right. You can't go wrong with the river on your right. And if you've lost your way and you're running out of daylight, keep the river on your right. Keep the river on your right. Keep the river on your right. Nothing rhymes and nothing clicks. I'm breaking bones with stones and sticks. Wrap my sorrow around these bricks and send them flying. Demons carpet, catter wall. Watch me stumble, watch me fall. Crack my forehead on this wall, but I keep trying to be the seed that water plants on a stony riverbank. From these mighty roots I sang, I'll rise to be Jeremiah's tree. Sun will rise, the sun will set. You spin a wheel and place your bet. Say the graveyard silhouettes are concrete angels in the quiet of my bed. Something Jeremiah said helps me wrap my head around a stony riverbank. From these mighty roots I sank, I'll rise to be Jeremiah's tree. Fed by a stream, ever fruitful, ever green, ever certain. Every seed the river plants is just drifting till it lands, following the current and floating on the wind. Every leaf and every branch, every stone a grain of sand. From these mighty roots I'll stand and rise to be Jeremiah's tree.
Thank you. We're just imagining you're all out there applauding like crazy and clapping and loving that song. And it's been a very strange year playing to cameras across the room, but we're glad to be doing this today. This is a song that Kristen wrote quite a few years ago, but she's an award-winning songwriter and has been in many contests across the nation, from Merle Fest to Telluride to Kerrville to Wildflower. And it's songs like this one right here have put her in that place. This is Kristen Grainger, and this is a song called Doris Theme.
My name's Doris Theme. I was born in 1917. Turned 90 years old today, or it could have been yesterday, I really couldn't say. My mother named me Doris Theme for a trick rider she had seen at some kind of old-time Wild West show. It was part circus, part rodeo, don't have those anymore. That's something that I wish I'd seen. Brave and beautiful Doris Theme perform feats of courage and grace, and never break a sweat, every hair in place. Wish I could learn to ride like that in a split skirt and a star-spangled cowboy hat. Maybe everything would have turned out differently for me. Doris Theme, McConaughey. Farming beans out in Oregon got us through the Depression. Then the winter I turned 23. I married Robert McConaughey. He ran the cannery. 3 months later, maybe 4, Bra went off to fight the big war. Shot down on the Sea of Japan, or so said the telegram I got from Uncle Sam. Now that's something that I wish I'd seen. Brave and beautiful Doris Theme perform feats of courage and grace, never break a sweat, big smile on her face. Wish I could learn to ride like that in a satin shirt and a star-spangled cowboy hat. Maybe everything would have turned out differently for me. Doris Theme, McConaughey. Sometimes I lie here thinking, and sometimes I just lie, pretend that there's some greater plan. It's not my place to wonder why. Oh, but 90 years later, I must petition my Creator. mother of two, Doris Theme. 'Cause that's some that I wish I'd been, the brave and beautiful Doris Theme, who could look back with courage and grace and see my ordinary life was no disgrace. Sure, I could learn to ride like that, though I'd probably do without the cowboy hat. But still, maybe then I'd see it all differently. And me, Doris Theme McConaughey, Doris Theme McConaughey. So this next song is one I wrote because I happen to love the sound of these two octave mandolins playing together. They've got two different voices, but they're the same instrument, and they sound really lovely and orchestral together. So I wrote a song that's a happy love song, which is also totally unlike me. So I thought I would share with you, and it's called The Tattooed Love Song. At 9:01, Tanya's light came on, the one on the dash that says check engine now, for the third time, maybe fourth time. And she wondered how far she could push before her luck ran out. At the Texaco, fresh from Mexico, tattoos on his shoulder to make him feel bolder, was Jorge, new divorcee, the mechanic on duty when Tanya rolled over. So Tanya, she was instantly charmed by the tat of a cat in repose on his arm. And so Jorge felt the change to his karma. Weatherman, weatherman, what's your prediction? Sometimes the truth can be stranger than fiction. And the world can be cruel, and the world can be cold, and love belongs to the innocent and rewards the bold. Coke machine, Tanya's coming clean, but the long-suffering 96 Honda Accord. Look at Jorge, doesn't hear a word she say. His hopes writing checks that his heart can't afford. Oh, so Jorge tosses caution away with a prayer to Our Lady of Guadalupe to win Tanya. Tell me just what to say. Weatherman, weatherman, what's your prediction? Sometimes the truth can be stranger than fiction. And the world can be cruel, and the world can be cold, and love belongs to the innocent and reward the bold. Each November they remember that light on the dash that said check engine now.
We're doing almost all Kristen Grainger original songs today, but this one was written by a great songwriter who, at the the time I think was a Seattle guy or maybe a Nashville guy. I always mix those two up. I'm not sure where he is now actually, but a guy named Cahalan Morrison wrote this next song. But I also wanted to introduce real quick, that's Martin Stevens down there on the mandolin, then octave mandolin, now mandolin, later fiddle, then mandolin. This is Josh Atkins over here on bass, and these guys are both great singers as well. And my name's Dan Wetzel, and here's one from our new record by Cahalan Morrison, but by Kristen Grainger and True North, called Down in the Lonesome Draw. 2,
3, 4. Fire stands a blazing wick, smoke comes out honey thick, down in the lonesome draw. The mood's all snared on midnight's jaws. The kingdom of the great prairie, it's home to you and home to me. Born in Whittingham and Hall, shattered like old Dempsey's jaw. And if you don't like Dodge, you can always go to Abilene. Here the getting's plenty and the grass is always green. You can always head to Kansas City, where they pave all of their roads, but the vices flow like the Ohio and the governor's on parole. The railroad men go pushing west, scar laid out on mother's breast. And what brings liquor, what brings gold, spares the young and saves the old. It's a short time here and a long time gone. Workmen sing the people's song. Down in the lonesome draw, Sonny bakes a rawhide raw. And if you don't like Dodge, you can always go to Abilene. Here the getting's plenty and the grass is always green. You can always head to Kansas City, where they pave all of their roads, but the vices flow like the Ohio and the governor's on parole. On a high plateau, Texas bull stands low and low. Rivers meant to separate, but it just unites the border state. No one still can understand what life is like in the borderland. Here's to the great expanse, where every day's a poisonous dance. If you don't like Dodge, you can always go to Abilene. Here the getting's plenty and the grass is always green. You can always head to Kansas City, where they pave all of their roads, but the vices flow like the Ohio and the governor's on parole. Yeah, the vices flow like the Ohio and the governor's on parole.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Kristen to tell you about this next song, kind of an important one.
So a year ago last June, we got the news that the United States was detaining families and separating parents and children at the U.S.-Mexico border. And it was a pretty upsetting news to hear, especially in light of the fact that 6 or 7 children died down there during that time. And that's when Neil Young called all artists to the fore and said, okay, people, this is what you do. You go write songs and make art about this and help the American people relate to what's happening. And so I stepped up and did my part, and I wrote this next song, and it's written from the point of view of two children traveling north with their mother. And the song is called Ghost of Abuelito. Abuelito is the Spanish diminutive for grandfather, so it's grandpa. So it's the ghost of grandpa, the ghost of Abuelito. Miguel, my brother, he's 11. I am Alma, I am 7. Old enough to remember home. The sound of gunfire in the night, an ordinary part of life, at least the only life I've ever known. Miguel refused to cry the day headed north from Ecuador to the USA. Even when we gave our dog away, even after throwing stones to make her stay. He says the ghost of Abuelito comes to him when he's afraid. His spirit comes down from the stars, still smells of coffee and cigars. But when he is there, Miguel is brave. Abuelito wanted it that way. At the border things got tense, with our backs against the fence, all those uniforms and guns. Americanos took our mother in one direction and us the other, and we haven't seen our mother since. Inside 100 babies cry, and I can't stop myself from always asking why. When will my mama come to get me? Did she go off and forget me? And Miguel just takes my hand and sighs. He says the ghost of Abuelito comes to us when we're afraid. His spirit comes down from the stars, still smells of coffee and cigars. But when he is there, we'll both be brave. Abuelito wanted it that way. He said Abuelito told him, America will always take you in. Her gates are guarded by a goddess. She welcomes you no matter where you've been. Minutes to hours, days to weeks, Miguel, my brother, hardly speaks. Bit by bit, he's disappearing. I asked him if he'd say the prayer, the one that brings Abuelito here. He said Abuelito's hard of hearing. Inside 100 babies cry, the ones that are old enough to talk keep asking why. When will my mama come to get me? Does she go off and forget me? And I take their tiny hands and lie. I say the ghost of los abuelos guard us as we sleep under the moon. Abuelos hate to see us suffer. They're out searching for our mothers, and they'll bring our mothers soon. Abuelos hate to see us suffer. They're out searching for our mothers, and they'll bring our mothers soon.
Well, this next song is one that Kristen also wrote. I know I'm saying that a lot today, but we took a wrong turn home one night. I mean, a different way home one night. And drove by this sign we'd never seen, even though we'd lived in the same town for 30 years. And Kristen looked up and said, wow, Dark Horse Bar and Grill, how long has that been there? And it's probably been there the whole time we have, but we had never noticed it. So she wrote this great song, and we've still never gone into this place. It would kind of ruin it now, but there's one in every town. You've all been to one somewhere. Okay.
The Dark Horse Bar and Grill knows you've had your fill of getting out of bed to push that boulder up the hill. And You can hide your car behind the Dark Horse Grill and Bar. They'll be glad to see you, and they don't care who you are or who you're letting down in some other part of town. The Dark Horse has a special vault for storing things that aren't your fault. The Dark Horse specialty is a time-worn recipe. Blend two parts denial with a muddled memory, and you can get your fill on a $20 bill. And if that doesn't do the trick, the whiskey always will. The bourbon and the scotch will kick it up a notch. The Dark Horse has a special vault for storing things that aren't your fault. There's carpet on the walls in case somebody falls. Lots of free philosophy on all the bathroom stalls. The bar stools in a row, the TV's silent glow. Everything's familiar, but there's no one there you know. And nothing's very hard. You just give the man your card. The Dark Horse has a special vault for storing things that aren't your fault. Dark Horse Bar and Grill knows you've had your fill of getting out of bed to push that boulder up the hill. The Dark Horse has a special vault for storing things that aren't your fault. Whatever you need hiding from, whatever you find troublesome, so hand it over, but you know you have to take it with you when you go.
You want to tell them about this one?
Yeah, so this song I wrote for a friend of mine who died young, and it's never easy to process that. But at the time, I really was so shocked by the loss of her that I didn't quite capture the fact that her whole personality and everything that was missing. It was like even her funeral didn't seem like her. It was too somber and too serious, and she was your basic consummate smarty pants. So I miss her a lot, and I got to play this in the Wildflower Songwriting Contest on her birthday. And I think if you play it on your dead friend's birthday that you win, and I won that time. So I know Julie would have approved of that. That would have been the fair game in her view. So it's called The Ratio of Angels to Demons. Today was our final farewell. It was awkward for you, I could tell. So I smiled and said, see you in hell. And I tossed my rose. Did you laugh at the look on my face when they broke into Amazing Grace? That old funeral parlor cliche I know you never chose. hazard a guess at the unevenness in the ratio of angels to demons. You'll accuse me of trying to be clever, but a part of me will ache forever, like the place where a limb has been severed. How's that for a rhyme? Biographies written in chalk, washed away by the rain on the sidewalk. You played scissors and fate, it plays rock. It wins every time. Somebody give me a reason. You don't get to play out the season, or hazard a guess at the unevenness in the ratio of angels to demons. Somebody give me a reason. You don't get to play out the season, or hazard a guess at the unevenness in the ratio of angels to demons. Today was our final farewell. It was awkward for you, I could tell. So I smiled and said, see you in hell. And I tossed my rose.
Well, Kristen's going to tell you about this song too, I think, because it's also kind of special.
Okay. All right. So those of you who've been, well, I don't know how you could have avoided the election, for example, but there's been a really good opportunity for women to have their voices heard for once, and Kamala Harris really helped us with that. So with our first woman of color and woman vice president of the United States, I was happy to contribute this song to a new song platform for women called She's Speaking, and it's a bunch of original songs written by women about women, and it's for everybody. So I hope to check it out at She's Speaking Songs on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. It's a channel you can subscribe to. But I contributed this song for my friend Governor Kate Brown and to all women who are trying to do a hard thing well. It's called She Flies With Her Own Wings. She says, come on over, we got work to do. She says, don't just stand there, there's a place for you, and you, and you, and you, 'cause it's true. Different points of view, more hands and eyes and hearts to make a plan and follow through. As she flies with her own wings, she's on the lookout for better things. She's keeping her eyes on that western horizon, and if a storm is blowing, she's gonna get where she's going. In spite of bruises and bee stings, she relies on her own wings. She says it's only thunder, don't be frightened. The thing to watch for is the lightning. Yeah, the lightning is the thing that destroys. The thunder's just a noise, a bully with a megaphone who threatens and annoys. As she flies with her own wings, she's on the lookout for better things. She's keeping her eyes on that western horizon. And if a storm is blowing, she's gonna get where she's going. In spite of bruises and bee stings, she relies on her own wings. And up on the timberline, in a tall stand of trees, she's waiting for the sun to rise again. Night fades to morning new, the sky shades of rose and blue. She takes a breath and leaps into the currents of the wind. She flies with her own wings. She's on the lookout for better things. She's keeping her eyes on that western horizon. And if a storm is blowing, she's gonna get where she's going. In spite of bruises and bee stings, she relies on her own wings. She says, come on over, we got work to do.
Thank you, everybody. We're going to do our last song here, and we've had a great time playing on this virtual player and songwriter. And this is our last song from a couple of records ago, one called Twist in the Wind. It goes just like this.
1, 2, 3.
Don't leave me here to twist in the wind and torture me with secrecy and silence. If it's true that you don't love me, stop pretending. I'd rather know, go on twisting in the wind. There was a time we went meet beneath the willow. There was a time you carved our names upon the bough. But now I cry my lonesome tears into my pillow, and I can't make sense of how you treat me now. There's no reply when I speak of my affection. There's no reply when I ask you why you're late. What have I done to deserve this cold reception? Won't you look me in the eye and tell me straight? Don't leave me here to twist in the wind and torture me with secrecy and silence. If it's true that you don't love me, stop pretending. I'd rather know, go on twisting in the wind. I will walk in the quiet of the mountain. I will listen to the meadowlark and crow until you say that it's all over but the shouting. I will wait for you to come and let me know. But don't leave me here to twist in the wind and torture me with secrecy and silence. If it's true that you don't love me, stop pretending. I'd rather know, go on twisting in the wind. Take it away, Marty. Don't leave me here to twist in the wind and torture me with secrecy and silence. If it's true that you don't love me, stop pretending. I'd rather know, go on twisting in the wind than go on twisting, twisting in the wind.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next time.